Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's coming right up. You're going to hear a roar of the crowd, and believe me, you will never, ever forget it. Are you ready? Count it down. Ready? Okay, here we go now. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
All right, everybody, let's get on it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Dr. Yaldo presents Say It My Way, an Eli Zaret production.
Ooh, great song.
Are you trying to get us booted off YouTube right off the bat?
Hey, sorry.
Oh, boy. Are we kicked off yet?
I don't know. Who cares? We'll be fine.
That's why I hate you.
Oh, looks like our...
YouTube.
I mean, we're still going, so
got a
who
good
knows?
chat going already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube. How about that? And so much to talk about after an exciting Saturday, well, exciting Friday, too, and a wild Sunday at Ford Field. Eli, where are you starting?
You know, I'm thinking there will never be two concurrent stories in this market, at least as far as sports goes, than we have right now. With the Lions doing something that they haven't done, well, obviously since 1962 with the 8-2 record, but still a chance to be a Super Bowl contender. At the same time, you got this Michigan story that has legs that won't go away and gets more complicated and more confusing by the day, and you got Michigan, Ohio State coming up. I was trying to think, when was the last time we had two stories that were this compelling? And I got to go back to 1984 when the Tigers started out like 18-2, and at the same time the Pistons finally made the playoffs. So I'm sitting in a game at Cobo Arena where, because the Palace had the roof had collapsed, and Isaiah Thomas against Bernard King and the Knicks. Great story. Finally, the Pistons are back, and they got their young hero at the same time. So now we've got these two stories, and the Lion game. Obviously, they win yesterday in stunning fashion, but if it had been a playoff game, it would be of Brady-esque proportions. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but since they're beating the 3-7 Bears, the finish orchestrated by this Lions offense that is so versatile and so capable of confusing people and mixing things up, the run and the pass, that had been dormant for the entire game. Here you got Jared Goff, who we now love, being outplayed by Justin Fields, who has been, taking a lot of heat for not being the top draft pick that he should have been.
Well, he's 6'25" as a starter.
Right.
It's a pretty tough go.
But something key happened when they were 0-4. Fields went to management and said, "This is bullshit. You've got to let me play with my instincts. You got to let me be who I am." And of course, he was hurt after that with the thumb. Now he comes back. They let him do his thing, and look at how amazing he is as a runner. Look at how he makes that first man miss in the backfield. So he ran for 104 yards, a pass for 168. So he's dominating the game. The Bears look better than the Lions, and yet you get down to the end, and what a finish. And seriously, did you think there was enough time for them to do what they do? They're down 23-14. They're down 2 scores. This is after Goff had his third interception. The ball is tipped. They go down the field, make it 23-14. They're down 2 scores. Everything is going wrong.
4-17, 3 timeouts is just enough time, just enough to do it exactly the way they did it.
So what are the and so as
one first down, would one first down have ended the game?
Right,
if the Bears got one first down,
and the way things are going, like they're down 20-14. Goff gets the third interception. They go down to make it 23-14, but then the Lions have to punt again. The Bears have the ball 3rd and 4, 10 minutes left, incomplete pass, but Branch holds, keeps the drive alive, and then on 3rd and 14, Field scrambles for 30. They're ahead in time of possession by 36 minutes to 16. They kick a field goal to make it 26-14 with 4:15 left. I look at the game cast on ESPN and say, what are the odds? They're in the 90 percentile. Even when the Lions start to drive, I look again, 83.4% chance the Bears win. But then here here, and then
What was it
Schlereth.
after the Lions scored the first time? What was the percentage at?
After that, I didn't look after that, but obviously it was a little bit lower, but it's.
Let me stop you for a second. On 4th and 1, when the Bears had the ball and they chose to kick the field goal to make it 26-14.
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know, you're 3-7. Why not just put the game away?
Yeah. Thought that too. I think everybody thought that too. They didn't.
Although if you lose by 10, then of course you cream the coach for that.
Right. It was listen. They were up 2 touchdowns with less than 4 minutes to go, and the Lions had played like shit. So Fields scrambles for 30, and then Schlereth at this point goes, and it's 26-14. He goes, "Where's Sam Laporta?" Well, son of a bitch, did Sam Laporta show up? So Goff then leads him down the field, mixing in runs and passes. Montgomery, Laporta, Brown, he passes to Gibbs, hits J-Mo for a 32-yard touchdown pass, all in 1 minute and 16 seconds. Now it's 26-21. So the
That only took 1:16.
That's all it took, is 1 minute and 16 seconds. It went from 2:59 or whatever it was.
4:15 or 4:17.
Yeah, right, that down to 2:59. So the Bears get it back, and what do? They go into the tank, 2 short runs into the line, nothing. And then on 3rd down, though, Fields goes deep, and his receiver slowed down just a bit. The ball tips off his hands, and the Lions, that would have been the game right there too. So they get it back, and then pass to Gibbs, Montgomery a run, Laporta for a pass, and then St. Brown does it again. He picks these balls off the carpet.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He caught a touchdown earlier on a pass that was an inch off the ground. We were talking about how he did this a few weeks ago, and he does it again, and then they go in for the touchdown. And then Hutchinson obviously strips Fields, punts the ball into the stands.
And that was the most fantastic ending you could have possibly hoped for.
That was.
Were you thinking at all about the whole Michigan-Ohio State thing and how he had lost to Justin Fields? I didn't think of it then, but my buddies
crossed my mind.
My buddies were calling me about that. Anyway, so that was very, very exciting. Like I said, if it had been a playoff game, we'd be talking about this for a long, long time. As it turns out, with the Vikings losing last night, 21-20.
How did they lose to Denver?
Denver's on this hot. They're just on this hot streak right now. I don't know how they're doing it, but they went from one of the worst teams to somehow being a 3 in a row. They've won?
4 in a row now
4.
because they won last night. They won. So then they're all talking excitedly after the game, and I got to bring this up because I am a historian, whether you like it or not, whether I bore you to death with it. But this is the first time they've been 8-2 since 1962. Now, I remember
61 years.
61 years ago.
8-2 is not that incredible. I mean, it's great.
Right. Well, that year, the Lions had to go to the runner-up bowl because they finished 11-3. The Packers were 13-1. What was the Packers' one loss? The Thanksgiving Day game when the Lions sacked Bart Starr 11 times with
11 sacks.
With their
Mark, what was wrong with the sound?
Grip.
What's going on?
Something wrong with the sound?
What, are we doing something here? What's going on?
Yeah, we're looking at the chat.
Yeah,
People
everybody
saying you're
said
running around,
the
I'm
sound
wondering
was
what's
too
going on.
low, so then I turned it up, and then the sound was too high, which didn't make sense from what I was looking at. So just a little troubleshooting.
Is everybody happy now?
No one's ever happy. What are you talking about?
I've just never heard the chat. I've never seen the chat complaining about the sound on YouTube so much.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad. I need that feedback so I can make sure it's okay. There was one thing that got switched that shouldn't have been switched, but then it got turned up and then it got turned down. So I don't know. Are we okay now?
Please stand by. Drew and the gang are experiencing technical difficulties. Blame will be assessed shortly. Please stand by.
Who's the ass that turns to change the button?
I don't know.
What
So that's
button
just-
was-
is that
what
just
did
the
they
switch?
switch?
I did not blame it on you, P-Nice. I was saying thank you for letting me know.
Someone took the turd out of Eli's microphone. What is that?
Oh, that's an old story. And probably true.
Who's the old timer? Somebody says.
So anyway, I guess it's good now.
Distortion seems to be gone, according to Mark. Ronnie
Now-
says, "Good job, Mark. Sounds great now."
Well, yeah.
Good job, Mark.
Sorry, it took 8. Yeah, nothing burger. Mark fucked up again. Yeah.
Oh, you fixed it.
How about our regular podcast listeners?
No, they would never know.
Okay. Well, now they know, unfortunately, that
It's okay.
We're technically inefficient.
We can handle it.
anyway,
What are we talking
so
about?
anyway, back in '62, there were 14 teams in the league, 2 divisions, and only the number one team got to go. So the Packers are 13-1. Here the Lions are 11, and they're 11-2 going to the last game of the season. So they didn't even get into the postseason. They're forced to go to this thing called the Runner-Up Bowl that they hated years later, and they go to
It's like the March Madness Final Four consolation game.
Exactly. Between 60 and 69, the NFL was facing this incursion by the American Football League, and they wanted to get more national exposure, so they had this runner-up bowl for third place in the
never
NFL.
Heard of this.
For third place in the NFL. And Joe Schmidt years later said, we hated that fucking game. It was disgusting. And then Vince Lombardi, you see, because the Packers won the NFL championship in 62 and 63. In 64, they had to go to the runner-up bowl, and they were so pissed that Vince Lombardi called it the shit bowl, a loser's bowl for losers. But the money was so big. You ready for this? In 62, when the Lions played in the runner-up bowl after an 11-3 season that kept them out of the playoffs, each player received $600.
Well, that's a mighty sum for those days, wasn't it?
Yes. In fact, it's equivalent to $5,900 in today's money. So
I'm surprised the NFL doesn't bring it back if it can make more money. It would make more money today, right?
Yes, it would.
I didn't even know that existed.
They should have the bad teams play a tournament for the first pick in the draft or something. People would watch it.
I swear, I did not even know that existed.
the runner-up bowl, it was from
I've never heard of that.
60 to 69, they all hated it.
Wait, that was around in 68 and 69? There was a runner-up bowl?
60 through 69.
What?
Yes. And then they 69. They had the runner-up. It was lasted for 10 years. It was really a joke, but the players, as you can see, the players had to do it, and they bitched about it. And it's just a sidebar from the 62 Lions. It was a very good team. George Wilson was the coach. Quarterback Milt Plum. Top receiver Gail Cogdill, 53 catches.
Oh, those are names that roll off the tongue.
Don't they? No, you guys are
they're
too
in the record book.
fucking
Some of
young.
those guys
I'm
are.
just kidding.
How about the fearsome foursome of
I know them.
Alex
Karras,
Karras, Sam Williams, Darius McCord, and anyway. So here we are. The Lions are 8-2, so they're 2.5 up on the Vikings. So the playoffs are guaranteed. They can't not make the playoffs. But what they really got to do is they got to protect Jared Goff. Obviously, you have to play the whole. I would hope that somewhere, whether it's Thursday against the Packers, that they'll give the guy a rest, because you see what's happening to quarterbacks around the league. Bengals lose Joe Burrow. They're done. The Vikings lose Cousins, even though this Josh Dobbs played okay. He lost last night. He's a backup quarterback. Jets lose Aaron Rodgers. The Giants lose Daniel Jones.
What happened to Jones?
Oh, he had a neck injury 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, boy.
Actually, one with a rookie last night. Anthony Richardson, the rookie. Here's what's happened to him his rookie year. Left the season opener with the Jaguars with a knee. Then he was knocked out in week 2 with a concussion against Houston. Then he missed another week with a concussion, and then he suffered a season-ending injury in week 5. So Goff was a great story. The trade was a great story. Look what this team has done. We said they got the worst of the trade. They got Stafford. The Lions only got Goff. No, he's turned out to be better for the Lions than Stafford could have been in the situation. The rookie class was all suspect. What are you doing, drafting a running back with the 12th pick? That's ridiculous. Gibbs. Since they already had DeAndre Swift. But Holmes and Campbell, these are what smart guys do. They put unlikely guys together, and it works.
Sam, it was the guy they picked up from Dallas who played yesterday.
Oh, I forget. He was an edge rusher.
Who is that guy? Who's that defensive tackle? They made 2 big plays. They had those 3 big signings too: Schofield and Irvin, who I don't think they were ready to play yesterday. But those are 3 veteran guys.
Has Peoples-Jones done anything?
I saw him on the field yesterday. But I think he was being thrown to for the 2nd interception. Maybe.
Oh, that's right.
I believe that was him.
And who's the guy from Dallas? He's 36. He wasn't in football this year. But smart guys, they see how players fit together. And so they knew that he would fill a role. And that's what they did with this draft class. Is amazing. And St. Brown in the 4th round, they just know. And that's the ingenious that you can't really define or explain, but seeing how the parts fit together is how great teams are made. And so I would just protect Goff from here on in. Hopefully.
What did you think about his play? I don't know if I was dicking with the audio when you talked about it, but Goff yesterday.
Well, the first interception, Laporta got hit.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't there.
Yep.
The second one, he just never saw the linebacker
terrible.
standing.
The Bears were covered in the middle.
And the third one got tipped.
Yeah,
And
but I got to tell you, I know it was tipped, but why was he throwing it there anyway?
He can't hit the broadside of a barn.
There were 3 Bears there.
Well, wait, how about the one?
Oh,
how about the one at 26-14 that would have put the game away?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the defensive
Pick
back was
six.
off as he would have had 97 yards to go. That would have been Goff's 4th. Would have ended the game, and we'd be in an entirely different mindset this morning.
No, he had a terrible game, and people do occasionally have terrible games. But what amazes me is that it was so businesslike the last 4-17. It was like, okay, we've done this. We know how to do this. And it doesn't matter what happened the previous 3 quarters and 11 minutes.
Right.
We're going to go down and drive our way to victory. And, he...
And having the
I don't
guts
know
to run
why
the
people-
ball.
they were-
having
yeah,
the
they-
guts to run the ball.
They ran the first play, and the crowd booed.
Yeah.
But that was wasn't that just to give Goff a little more protection or the illusion of a running game?
I kept thinking of you, Drew, because I'm like, this is not clock mismanagement. This is actually really good clock management.
It was stunning.
what they were doing.
To 1 minute and 16
Or clock
seconds to go down
recklessness.
the field.
I was surprised they ran on the first play. I was very surprised by that. But he got
got through a
sacked on
bunch.
first down the previous drive.
Yeah.
And it ruined, the Lions don't have, the margin for error on a Lions drive is not that big. And so it's kind of amazing the way Goff does dink and dunk and dink and dunk. And they took that away from him yesterday. And fortunately, I don't know, were the Bears playing prevent at the end of that game?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
which-
When they took the middle away, it was a different game.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the Lions played that for 60 minutes, they would have scored 90 points. So,
I mean, that's
Yeah.
football, right? That's the NFL.
right.
Yeah.
We need another quarterback.
No, we don't, Barbara. I think that Goff is in the best situation of his career.
Did you guys mention about how the Bears really played like the Lions of old with some of those decisions down the road?
That's
in
what
that
I was
game?
thinking. When I saw the Bears lose that game, I thought this is Detroit Lions 2015.
Right.
I mean, the
throwing for 50 yards when they needed 10 on third down.
Right.
That reminded me of Stafford a little bit.
That was after running the ball in the middle of the line 2 times just to eat up
Twice.
clock.
I
When you
know.
have a Justin Fields who was running all over the place, but I know he's injured. I know he's probably sore at that end of the game, but not kicking the field goal on 4th and 1 is the biggest pussy move I've ever seen.
And don't forget, after those 2 runs into the line, he went deep, and the guy he was open, and he slowed down, hesitated just a bit, and you saw the expression on Fields' face. He threw a perfect pass.
He really did.
It should have been the game. That interception that didn't happen at the near the goal should have been the game. But it wasn't, and so
when the Bears had the ball that time, my only concern was, oh my God, Fields running the ball.
Yeah.
And he never did.
No.
They never gave him the ball.
don't get it.
I guess he could have taken off on 3rd and 10, but he threw the ball down the field anyway. But that's the fear factor. That
Right.
quarterback that can get away. And especially when you don't have one, it's just glaring.
And one first down would have won the game for him.
Yeah. And did you mention that 4th and 1 call that we were talking about before the show, Drew?
Yeah.
okay.
We just mentioned it.
Okay, stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Anyway, so that's the Lions situation, and they play Green Bay on Thursday.
Huge favorites in that game. 7.5 points.
Well, they were also 7.5 over the Bears.
Yeah.
which they would have lost the bet. Yeah, but
Yeah, I like the Lions, and even giving the points, I do like the Lions in that game. I hope they don't put us through anything like they put us through yesterday.
well, what's Michigan going to put us through? What they put us through already? This is Ohio State is up on Saturday.
Well, start on Friday. Why did Michigan not go to court? They talked about going to court all week. Jim Harbaugh couldn't wait to talk.
There was additional evidence that came in that they were made aware of. This whole thing about the booster would have maybe stoked or
Uncle T.
First off, remember the Big Ten wanted Michigan to suspend him for 2 games, right? Remember that back in the day, and Santa Ona was like, no. So it really sounded like they were going to that conclusion of, okay, you can coach Ohio State. This will just get rid of it, right? So it was they were going to reduce it to 2 games. And then the NCAA called them up and said, hey, Chris Partridge has been fucking with our investigation and the whole Uncle T thing. So the Big Ten really dug their heels in.
But wouldn't the Big Ten have fought it anyway? I mean, they weren't just going to lay down.
Well, no, I think they were okay with just agreeing to making it a 2-game suspension and kind of letting it be done because they didn't have the other information.
But the Chris Partridge stuff came out anyway, so what advantage was there to just say, oh, forget it? If they thought they were being unfair.
For Michigan?
Yeah.
You know, I
think to be done with it, to tell you the truth.
I think to be done with it for the time being. The whole...
But it was already done a week ago. It could have been done.
It could have been. Perhaps if they'd taken it, maybe so.
I mean, the Big Ten could have added stuff.
They're righteously indignant. Michigan is. This is what and their anger is really against Tony Petitti. It isn't against the NCAA, which is taking its time.
Well, it was against the
NCAA. It's this Tony Petitti who is the new Big Ten commissioner who comes from baseball and obviously took the Astros viewpoint in this because the Astros did. Their cheating definitely affected the integrity of the game and the outcome. The argument is all coaches, it seems, get advance or do it during the game, and stealing signals is very, very prevalent. Yes, Michigan did it. This Connor Stallions, the whole thing with the intrigue. I mean, come on, the espionage, the surveillance, the rule.
Well, now you got a booster involved.
The mysterious undercover kingpin with a goofy name. You got the angry rivals. You got the green, inexperienced commissioner with no football background. You got the demonized, distrusted, norm-breaking weirdo coach in Harbaugh who is so easy to dislike. And then some new evidence. So Michigan backed off. There's no evidence that Harbaugh knew about this. He just wants to know what the plays are, if people know, or what they're signaling.
Does anyone really believe Jim Harbaugh, though? I mean, is he really a credible person at this point? You can say that? Because he doesn't.
Fuck you, Jim Harbaugh.
Because nobody ever does anything wrong, according to Jim Harbaugh. He doesn't know. He's either the worst manager, he's either the sloppiest manager ever, or he must know something. Or his assistant coaches know something.
I think he knows that it worked.
He knows that it worked, and he knows that they know what the plays are. And really, the
NCAA already is up in his face for lying about the other stuff. So why do we assume he's telling the truth about this?
Well, I think because the NCAA has said so that he had no. Knowledge.
This is America's team, Drew.
I mean, it's not just him that's saying it's the NCAA and it's the Big Ten.
Well, they're saying they don't know of any. They don't have anything on.
Right, they have no evidence that he knew about it. But
But they've never said anything about the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, or any of these other people.
Some stuff. Maybe they don't know all this. Maybe they didn't know what Partridge did.
Come on, the Big Ten doesn't know anything. It's the NCAA that's been doing the investigation.
The investigative company that unearthed this is called Third Day. Ryan Day. Two of his brothers work for Third Day. Now, whatever. I don't think
it is Ryan Day's brother that uncovered this whole thing.
Well, maybe as part as. But okay. The point is, in Michigan's view, despite all of this, it's a minor violation in Michigan's view because just like the exact same thing, although Purdue, it isn't illegal what Purdue did, where Rutgers and Ohio State gave them what Michigan's plays were, which is easier to define than raw cell phone footage that they had to figure out with Connor Stallions. And so in Michigan's view...
It could be considered in-season scouting, though. You're just using another team, just like Connor Stallions used guys that he hired.
It's parsing it. So here's Sarah Hubbard is the chair of the Michigan Board of Regents. This is the board of directors. These are the people. She says, in referring to Petitti, she tweeted this yesterday, what's happened here was a total novice getting spun up into treating a minor rule violation by a low-level staffer as a historical scandal and literal threat to the safety of football players. He has continued to repeat blatant falsehoods while refusing to climb down from his untenable position. And this whole thing in the beginning, that it could hurt Michigan State players. They found
it's ludicrous.
It's ludicrous because if that's the case, then how come there's no injuries on any other teams that you can cite caused by Michigan knowing their plays? Nor, since Purdue knew Michigan's plays, how come Michigan players weren't hurt?
If that's the case, why isn't the season canceled? I mean, if players' health is
that's not the only reason.
No, but there are
actions being taken. That's just a stupid thing. I mean, I agree. It's totally
a terrible
stupid
argument.
But that's not the
It's almost as
only
bad as
argument.
Michigan's argument about, hey, we scored less or more points without Connor Stallions until the last 2 weeks.
I mean, if it wasn't Tony Petitti, wouldn't Michigan hate whoever the fucking Big Ten commissioner was right now?
Well, not if he hadn't pushed it. If he said, listen, let's let the NCAA play out.
Well, if Tony Petitti had done that, they would love Tony Petitti. But now Tony Petitti is this idiot, a complete numbnut.
Who succumbed to the ire of the other
13,
coaches, the other 13 coaches. So,
Well, is it possible that they actually believe this, though? That this isn't just a big conspiracy to take down? Is it possible that people really are upset about it?
that
Upset about what?
Upset about
About what Michigan did with Connor Stallion.
oh, listen,
Yeah, because they're winning.
Drew, you are right when you say Michigan is a cult. And I'll admit, I agree, it's a cult. And you know what? I'm part of the cult too. And if I wasn't part of the cult, I'd probably be bitching up a storm and taking whatever side that's anti-Michigan in this. And you know, they hate us. They hate us. That's why I tell you, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, Ric Flair. Harbaugh invites Ric Flair, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm not arresting him. So wasn't he one of the heels? So I look it up, the 15 greatest heels of all time in wrestling, and Ric Flair was number 2 because number 1 is Vince McMahon, who created the whole fucking role. So here he invites Ric Flair, and then what does Harbaugh say? This has got to be America's team. America does it. So Harbaugh loves being the heel, and so my brother-in-law, my mission, they're all upset about this. I go, guys, embrace the role. Would you rather be a nondescript like Indiana or Northwestern? Of course they hate us. Anybody on top is hated. So embrace the role. Accept the myth of the Michigan man, which is bullshit anyway. You know, like we're better, we're more. But I don't think Michigan created the Michigan man myth, although Bo did say a Michigan man. But that's supposed to imply integrity and all that. And I don't know about you, Mark. I play it up all the time.
Because it bothers people.
I got 10 friends who are Spartans who are probably smarter than me and more successful than me. But I still play the role because I'm the arrogant ass that Darryl Rogers said we all are. So it's the role. And so accept the role and understand that you can't escape it. And what's interesting, too, I think Harbaugh plays both sides. He likes being the heel, but he also wants to talk about our stalwarts and our integrity and all this and that. Because when he was,
we have the best COVID regulations that
absolutely.
Anthony Fauci should come and study what we're doing, and then they forfeit the last 3 games.
And when he was with Stanford, he ripped Michigan for their, you know, we're for our education standards. So, you know.
Wait, why did he do that at Stanford, by the way? I never understood that, and I thought, why didn't Michigan people
He was a little pissed at Michigan.
Harbaugh,
angrier.
He's autistic.
He was passed over for a job, too, early on.
That's right.
I'm surprised the cult was so forgiving.
Well, that's the crazy thing about college football. You win, and a lot of things.
Oh, no, I mean before he came here. You think that would have been in headlines?
Well, it was.
Jim Harbaugh.
It was. Of course, you know, Michigan wasn't the number 1 school in the, you know, listen, I'm part of the cult, and so much part of the cult, and all of Michigan fans are, Bo Schembechler. His name is still in the football building. It's the Schembechler building. We willingly forget about all the players and students that were abused by Doc Anderson right under Schembechler's nose. And Schembechler, in his book, that of course he's gone now. In his book, he said anything that happens, the coach is responsible. I don't care whether he knew or not; he's responsible. So here, what would Bo have said were he alive? And the whole Doc Anderson thing came out. But we love our team. All schools love their
Harbaugh
teams.
says he would have settled it by dawn if there was a problem. He would have taken care of it by dawn. Is what Harbaugh said, implying that it didn't happen.
Yeah. But back to the hate. They all hate. So here you got Paul Feinbaum, you know. And all the vitriol coming from Stephen A. You know, don't let them. They should be forfeit games. They should banish them. Feinbaum now says he will not accept Michigan's participation in the CFP.
Oh no!
This is the most obnoxious fan base in America that really believes the world revolves around the University of Michigan football program. Yes, we do. I went to school there. This is my team. I don't care what they do. I don't care how many boys they abuse. I don't care how many rules they break. We're the Andrew Dice Clays of football.
Why does Paul Feinbaum keep turning it up, by the way? It seems like he just
he gets
can't
eyeballs.
He gets eyeballs. Same with McAfee.
Same with Stephen A. Smith and
exactly,
McAfee.
Exactly.
So who's on Michigan's side in the journalist world?
No one.
No, well, I think
there's some people.
I think Wetzel's done a nice job to present both sides.
Yeah. But as he'll openly admit, they're very nuanced with their decision. You know, they're not gas bag yellers. Him and Forty and Dellinger. I mean, they'll look at it. They'll look at something from all sides.
Right. No, every time because I've seen some people, because naturally it gets retweeted like crazy because the cult is wow. On Twitter, the cult is beating everyone by a mile, in my opinion. Michigan versus everybody. I really think everybody needs points to compete.
It's everybody versus it's every team versus everybody, but it's just been very easy to demonize Michigan.
Well, but you know, I remember when,
and for good reason,
when Joe Paterno was going on. I mean, there was a lot of demonizing of Joe Paterno and how horrible he was, and it was brutal. And the same thing with Urban Meyer and the receivers coach that his wife. And,
We love you, Joe.
and people in Michigan get very angry at these other schools too when things are going askew there.
Sure.
It just seems like any chance to take down anyone
absolutely
is just
college football.
That's why we love the game. It's about hating the opposition. It's about, you know, I mean, a lot of it's pretend. I think, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I got so many Spartans who are friends. How can I hate Spartans or hate, you know, I can just root for them to lose. But meanwhile, how about Connor Stallions? Is he on suicide watch? Think of this kid. He dreams his entire life of being a Michigan coach. He writes a 600-page manifesto about how to take over the Michigan program, how to be the best ever, how to build this entire organization through whatever his manifesto may have had. Not only do you lose this opportunity in a moment, but now you're the pariah that could take the program down. So think of what his life.
He's got no one to blame but himself.
Right, but and he's got no money. He fixes old appliances and leaves them on his front porch, pissing off the neighbors.
He's got Uncle T now, though.
Hey, so why is Uncle T is not named? Uncle T apparently is someone we will never know the name of.
No, it's Tim Smith. Even though he denies it, it really seems like
Who's Tim Smith?
He's a Detroit entrepreneur. I forget what he does. It's like a computer company, but everybody's talked to him. Everybody's talked to Tim Smith, and he said, "No, it's not me." But then
sounds kind of Fab Five-y.
Back to you know what it really does, Drew. Actually, but he denied knowing Connor Stallions, and then he admitted talking to Connor Stallions multiple times after this thing broke. So I don't know. The guy's kind of wacky. He was also
Isn't he on a board?
He was on the board of one of the NIL collectives, and mysteriously after the agreement on Thursday, he disappeared from the board's website and isn't on the board anymore.
Champions Circle?
Yeah, the Champions Circle.
What is this? The same Tim Smith that was involved with the Pistons years ago? I'm trying to think.
You know what? I don't know much about him.
What's interesting about the Chris Partridge thing is I don't really understand why Chris Partridge would be covering this up because they're implying that he's covering it up because he just wanted to cover it up. Well, he doesn't know Connor Stallions or he doesn't have anything to do with it.
He had a conversation with one of the players or one of the students and told him not to be forthcoming, and he was not supposed to have any conversations with anybody involved with the Michigan program about any of this. And he talked to somebody, I guess, at some point. I don't really know what it is.
Didn't he do something on the computer too?
Maybe he did scrub some stuff or some evidence, or maybe some of the footage.
It's hard to believe that he wouldn't have known something that was damaging himself for him to. Why would you cover it up? It was already out. Cat was out of the bag, right?
Yeah, I mean, but Angelique did an article where she said that, on the condition of anonymity, people are saying that he basically told all the players not to say anything. I find that a little hard to believe that the NCAA would come down that hard, saying he's messing with the investigation when they talk about evidence.
So one of the players ratted him out?
Oh, I don't know who ratted him out. No.
Don't know. But
I'm a tattletale.
But, can I just go back to the fact that really...
I wish he had more Connor Stallions in him and kept his mouth shut.
It's
not destroyed evidence.
It's a violation. The way they went about it, though, with the Stallions.
Ridiculous.
In fact, I wonder if...
Even with this, Eli, the fact that the Big Ten didn't know about this, the NCAA is the one that told them. And by the way, the NCAA yet to interview Uncle T, yet it seems like every media outlet has talked to this Tim Smith guy.
This private investigative...
What has Tim Smith said? Has he said anything?
He denies it's him, but when you hear or read the interviews with him, it's like,
okay,
really? That's not you? Okay.
It's this cloak and dagger shit. And let's go back to the fact that if what the region says is true, and I do think to a point, it's a minor violation. It's just a wild, complicated story of surveillance and espionage and all that stuff.
Leaks
but teams share this information a lot. Ohio State and Rutgers shared it with Purdue. They didn't go through the it's just overblown, but what can you do at this point? Can they beat Ohio State? And how injured is J.J. McCarthy?
I think he's very injured.
In this win over Maryland, 31-24, not one. They're a play action team, not one play action the entire game because he has an ankle that isn't working. He couldn't run. He couldn't roll out. He couldn't do anything.
And there was a video that popped up on Twitter and then disappeared pretty quick of him limping pretty bad after the game.
Yeah.
Why would that be taken down? I know I asked you that before the show.
I don't know. People freak out when they put something out that can affect things.
Of a college football player limping after a game? Oh my God! You better take that down.
Well, the line's moved 2 points.
Yeah,
the line has moved 2 points since after.
What is the line? What is the line?
4 now, I believe.
Boy, it's just a pick'em game, and I tell you,
it's funny. I didn't notice he was that injured. I did not notice that watching the game. They didn't really say much about it either.
Joe Klatt mentioned it one time that he's not 100%. Because of everything you just laid out,
he didn't
you're
do
right.
anything.
No play action, no roll.
No play action, no rolling out, nothing.
His passes were just way off.
He's hurt.
Definitely hurt.
That's a huge element in this game. And if Roman Wilson doesn't play, forget it. I would pick Ohio State in the game.
What's Roman Wilson's status? Do we know?
Well, they took him out
concussion, right?
Precautionary. So who knows? They could. He seemed fine. They showed him laughing on the sidelines, but until.
That could be a thing too, where let's keep him out. We're up, and then oh shit, game's a lot closer than we thought.
Yeah, well,
so what about the game itself? What did you guys think of the Maryland game?
I thought they were in jeopardy. They led 23-3, didn't they? And you think it's over, and they.
In my group talk with all our friends before the game, I said I'm actually a little worried about this game because I don't really care about this game. So if I don't care about this game, do the players really care that much? A noon at Maryland before Ohio State.
Well, they came out flying though.
Kind of a sleepwalk game, but they didn't though.
Quarterback.
They had a 3 and out. Maryland marched down the field on them.
Right. Michigan got basically 9 free points with the defense, and so
they did not play well by any stretch of the imagination.
No, they had 23-3.
Well, thanks to two safeties, had 11 free points really.
Yeah.
2 safeties and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle.
And the 2 picks.
Without their one-time Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback unable to move. Come on, they might have done better with a backup in there, but they had to play him. They had to win the game, and it took down to the end to finally hold him off. But Tagovailoa,
just call him Little Tua.
Little Tua Talia is a great quarterback. Played beautifully for most of the game. And although Maryland, they started 5-0 and gave Ohio State a hard time. They're not a terrible team, but Michigan has looked very bad the last 2 weeks. And what are you going to do going into Ohio State with a quarterback who's in a boot apparently now?
He's in a boot. I didn't know he's in a boot.
That was the allegations. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sounds to me like some excuses for after a loss.
This is all news to me because honestly, I didn't think he looked like he was laboring against Maryland.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't have a great game.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
How many passes did he throw in the game?
Let's see what was he? He was 12 for 23
for
141 yards.
Passes were behind.
Yep.
Passes were short.
Right. He was not the best quarterback on the field. They could have easily lost the game. So
did he have 1 interception?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was a terrible throw. Terrible decision.
Yeah.
Should have been picked to play before that too.
Yeah. So
then he threw the ball. Okay, so maybe that explains why he threw the ball 8 times against Penn State. If he was hurt, or was he hurt in that game?
I think he got hurt during Penn State.
Yeah.
There was one where he scrambled and he got up and he was limping from there.
And considering that Penn State had that a couple of great pass rushers that were beating, Barnhart, that was his name, Colston Barnhart on every play, I
understood
had to
that,
run.
but I've never seen anyone in this position in modern college football just run the ball 32 straight times.
Oh, that's great.
A team that has a passing game. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, because their pass protection wasn't great and their quarterback couldn't move. and that's why.
It just seemed like they could, after you've run the ball 16 times in a row, I think you can probably throw the ball without being smeared.
Well, they tried twice, right? One was a pass interference. The other was the one he scrambled on.
Good news is that Sharon Moore had a clean post game.
Jesus Christ.
Another reason they hate us. So easy to hate us for all of that. So, again, Michigan State wins. They won 2 in a row. Give them some credit. Malik
Get the
Carr.
old brass spittoon.
Yep.
I don't know anything about that game. What happened in that game?
I did
Does
not
anyone
watch
know
it.
anything?
Yeah,
That Carr guy had a pretty sweet touchdown catch for the game winner.
Minute 19 left, and
Tight
he
end.
bounced off 2 guys. He's 6'6".
Oh,
260.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, can I see this? I've
was a
not.
great play,
We
yeah.
can't play it right now.
And Caton Hauser had a pretty good game, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. So Michigan State wins 2 of their last 3, and they close out with Penn State.
Behind the freshman quarterback?
Caton,
no.
Caton's not a freshman, is he? No.
He's the new,
the other
quote-unquote,
kid,
new
what's the other
quarterback.
kid's name? The fresh.
I can't remember.
Sam
Sure.
something or other.
I don't know, not my call. Hashtag not
Lauren
my
or
call.
Laurel, anyway. I don't know.
Well, this is the guy that took over 3 games ago.
Yes, Sam something. Come on, you're supposed to know this.
No, I don't care.
They're backup freshmen. Anyway, interesting. Obviously, Michigan's going to be in the top 4 again with the CFP, but
Are they? You never know.
Florida State loses their 6-year quarterback, Jordan Travis, a star, carted off the field.
Awful injury, man.
Yep. And so now they're number 4. Will number 5 Washington, which struggled to beat Oregon State. Penix didn't play well, but it was a rainy game. It was very tough conditions. They won 18 in a row. Will number 5 Washington move into the number 4 spot? They're not supposed to vote the CFP taking injuries into account.
No,
so they're not supposed to take the fact that Travis is hurt into account. But will they? I don't know.
Noah Kim was the quarterback for Michigan
Yeah.
State before.
And Sam Levitt's who you're thinking of.
Yeah. Was it Sam what?
Sam Levitt.
Is it Levitt? No.
According to a guy on YouTube.
Caden
Anyway.
Hauser started the last 5 games.
You got to feel a little bit of you have to feel for Oregon, which beat Arizona State 49. Bo Nix, by the way, 6 touchdowns before halftime.
Give him the
Jeez,
Heisman
God.
now.
Oregon State's 1 loss, Texas 1 loss, Alabama has played very, very well. So, by the way, this is the second time in 2 weeks backup Ty Simpson, backup quarterback, drops the ball on a 79 at the 1-yard line. Remember the kid from Washington, the defensive player, dropped the ball on the 1-yard line.
Who did it this week?
His name is
Ty,
I got it here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shit,
For what team?
Ty Simpson for Alabama.
I mean, they're up by 1 billion points.
Right.
They're playing
But he
Chattanooga.
Dropped the ball.
So
was a
on the
little
1 yard
closer,
line,
little
start
closer than
celebrating at the
last
1 yard line.
Did a teammate pick it up?
No.
No, it went in the end zone.
No, in fact, they called it attention. They had to review it and realize he dropped it in the 1 yard line. So after the game, they ask Saban about it. He goes, I mean, do I have to comment on that? He says, every coach says, cross the goal line and hand the ball to the official. That's all I've got to say about that. But, you know.
Well, it's the biggest duh.
The celebration
I just am
shit
amazed.
drives me crazy. How about, you know, who's the Michigan kid, the defensive player, drove me 78.
Oh, Graham?
No. Why did
Wait, this year now? Kenneth Grant?
That's Kenneth Grant.
Whoever, was it
You're talking about this roster?
I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about
Sean Barry,
no,
defensive tackle?
No. When he sacked here it is. Miles Hinton,
yeah.
number 78. Okay, 340 pounds, 6'6". He ran down the Penn State runner last week, but after the safety sack yesterday, he makes that going to sleep pantomime in the end zone, only to see Maryland storm back. It drives me. I'm watching a Giants game a few weeks ago. They're down 28-6. Guy catches a TD pass and does a dance in the end zone.
It was Grant that caught the running back.
Oh, I saw a Jets
Celebrations.
I saw a Jets defensive tackle through Buffalo for like a 2-yard loss. The score was 29-6.
Yeah.
He's walking around with his finger
So
in the air.
what?
like,
I saw Aiden Hutchinson pick up the ball and punt it into the crowd. It was fucking great.
Shit.
well, they just won the game.
These guys get beat.
You're
on
losing
every-
29
every
to
play.
losing 29-6, and you're running on. Woo, number one.
And the
man."
same thing, 42-7. They're celebrating in the end zone when the guy made an interception.
You party
Oh my
pooper,
God.
buzzkill.
You guys are
Anyway,
buzzkills.
I think, as a member of the media, one time, and you guys should too, that the biggest story to me this week, besides obviously the Lions and Michigan, is this Carissa Thompson on the podcast with Aaron Andrews. Okay, the sisters are pissed.
Oh, are they ever?
In an era when journalists are demonized for so many reasons, where truth in media is under constant attack, she insults, enrages, and cuts the legs out from every female sideline reporter, and male sideline reporters too. She said on a podcast with Aaron Andrews, she said, I would make up reports sometimes because the coach wouldn't come out at halftime or it was too late and I didn't want to screw up the report. So it was like, I'm just going to make this up.
She said that months ago and nobody picked up on it because nobody listens to Aaron Andrews. What happened was she went on Barstool and said the same story, and this time, boom, it went viral, and every single sideline reporter had to go to Twitter to yell at her. They're all pissed off at her. Everybody's
so
mad.
hard to build up the credibility of that job, and then she just destroyed it.
Well, why should we ever believe anything she says about anything?
Well,
She's going to make up stuff. In other words, it's just
Tell
it really is just.
Tell me one memorable story you've ever heard from a sideline reporter.
That's the point. We were talking about that before the show.
Now,
they're pointless. Sideline reporters are pointless.
Wait a minute. I was a sideline reporter.
You're pointless.
For 7 years. And I worked that job. And that's why I'm taking the high road here, because Carissa Thompson was a good sideline reporter.
Wait,
but
you made stuff up?
I never made stuff up.
Oh, you made stuff up.
I never made stuff up. That's the point. If there was a time I was going to interview Dan Gilbert. He was up here with LeBron James early in James' career. They were playing the Pistons in I think a playoff game. And I said, Dan, will you talk to me in the third period? Because I have a little insert there. He said, fine. But LeBron got hurt. He went into the back and couldn't appear. He stiffed me on the report. So I had to say, I was supposed to talk to Gilbert. He's in the back. I explained that a little bit. I talked about what I was going to ask him, and I speculated on the answers myself. You got to be prepared for that. What Carissa Thompson is saying was it wasn't even important for me to have a backup story in case, because it's on the fly. It's not an easy job. And the women, even though that function of it, which is part of it, which they overplay, is to talk to the coach between periods. The coach is never going to tell you anything, and that's her point.
No, and they're always so annoyed.
She goes, I just made the shit up because he wasn't there. And I figured it's the same old stuff anyway. She goes, no coach is going to get mad if I say, hey, we need to stop hurting ourselves. We need to be better on third down. We need to stop turning the ball over, do a better job of getting off the field. So she's denigrating that, and I agree, because what coach is going to say, he says, you know what, we're running the ball like shit. We're going to really pass more in the second half, and watch out for the fake punt. Of course they're not going to tell you anything. It's the middle of a game. And there was a time 10 years ago we thought, that's ridiculous. I can't believe a coach would talk to a reporter in the middle of a game. So that is bullshit. And sometimes I get upset. I said, I don't want to hear this, and I turn the sound down until they're done quoting the coach. But there's injury updates. There's backgrounds on players. I used to put a little interviews I did to try and fill that time. You should take the role seriously. And the women that do it, even though they got this bullshit role, which I agree with you about what the coach said, man, they come to you, you got 30 seconds, you got to be ready, you got to memorize stuff, you got to look good, you got to say it properly. It's not an easy role. And for her to denigrate it like that and really put it all on women, some of the shit is incredible. Andrea Kramer, I am one of only 3 women in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm sickened by the insulting mockery being made of sideline reporting, a challenging role primarily manned by women, most of whom understand and respect the values of journalism and are integral, trusted members of the broadcast team.
Does Andrea Kramer belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
No.
Is that just
how many touchdowns has she thrown?
Andrea Kramer is in the Pro
0.
Football
That's right.
Okay,
Hall
well,
of
wait a
Fame.
minute. Now you don't say that about the guys. This is classic misogyny, and I agree with you because
Is Jim Lampley in the Hall of Fame? Didn't he invent it?
But when you see a man, you assume he knows more about sports than a woman does.
No.
You assume that he played.
No, sideline reporters I could do without. I mean, you're right. They're good for injury reports.
They didn't play to the highest level.
Lynn Swann was terrible as a sideline reporter.
Right.
He was fucking awful.
ED.
Eric Dickerson was the best for entertainment value, but terrible reporter.
Why are sideline reporters always very, very pretty? What's up with that?
Well,
Is that a coincidence?
Which is another reason why she shouldn't denigrate the position, because yes, there are a lot of them there because they're kind of pretty. So Lisa Salters, shocked, disappointed, disgusted. What we heard today called all sideline reporters into question. My job is an honor, a privilege, and a craft at which I have worked so hard. Trust and credibility mean everything to a journalist.
We get it.
Oh, God. Meanwhile, the good news is that the Tigers got a free agent.
What?
You guys didn't talk about their, of course, it was a free agent broadcaster. But the background on Jason Benetti, who was considered one of the best, I haven't heard him, I don't think, except maybe to a football game, is that why did the White Sox let him go? And the behind-the-scenes story is that he didn't get respect from the organization. He was in his last year. He was underpaid. And this guy, Brooks Boyer, who was his boss, treated him disrespectfully. And that's what Benetti basically said. He said he demanded more respect. Boyer yelled at him a lot, and he said to me, respect according to normal human beings or respect according to Jason Benetti. Wow. Point being, the Sox think he owed them, not the other way around. Unless you're a yes man, it's apparently a terrible organization under Reinsdorf to work with. And give the Tigers credit, they got who they thought was the best available, who had a year left on his contract, who was ready to get out of the White Sox, which apparently, like I say, is a very bad team to work for. But my other favorite story of the week is that the Charlotte Hornets all-star guard LaMelo Ball was forced to cover a tattoo below his left ear that the league insists violates rules against exposing commercial logos on players. What? He has the initials LF tattooed, short for La France's middle name, but however, the NBA says that LF represents his clothing line that he now has, and
no free advertisement.
No free advertising. And although others
it's behind his ear.
That's really what it's about.
Ears, so I don't know how to cover it. The league did require his older brother Alonzo to cover a big baller brand tattoo back in 18. Which I don't know if that is. But so here's the thing. So Allen Iverson comes to the Pistons in 2008, and I'm told he's got to cover his arm with a sleeve because he's got a tattoo that I thought was X-rated or something. So I'm looking at him at practice. In practice, he doesn't have the sleeve on. The tattoo said Jules, Jewelz, which was his pseudonym for this rap album he was going to produce at the peak of his career. In 2000, Allen Iverson was the man, averaging 30 points a game. So he's got this rap album, and so David Stern, the commissioner, wants to listen to it. So his first the album is going to be called Nonfiction, and the first song that he plays for Stern is called 40 Bars. So Stern hits the roof. He goes, the lyrics are offensive, coarse, and antisocial. He said, no matter whatever constitutional rights of free speech and anyone has, there's no constitutional right to participate in the NBA. I have the power to disqualify players who engage in offensive conduct.
It doesn't help that the song has gunshots in it and a lot of N-bombs.
I love the fact that Stern thought it was going to be something different. What did he think it was going to be?
Brandon, do you have any of that?
I can make it quick before we get kicked off
hear
YouTube.
That track? Oh.
You went platinum with a ghostwriter, so in the game you won, you cheated. My slang bang when you need it. Man enough to pull a gun, be man enough to squeeze it. Damn, you don't believe it. Anything to do with millions, I'm a big one.
They traveled in that highlight.
Hardcore niggas, fuck the rest.
Niggas, fuck the rest. Now, what could Stern find offensive in that? As it turns out,
I don't know what the point is of covering stuff up.
I don't know. And so, as it turns out, Iverson kind of liked the sleeve, so he wore it the rest of his career, even though the album was never produced.
I cannot find out who the three women in the NFL Hall of Fame are. I'm looking it up. I can't find it. I've got Andrea Kramer and Georgia Frontiere.
Yeah, right.
But I can't figure out who the third is. I'm so upset. And will Katie Sowers be in the Hall of Fame?
I don't even know.
She was the first coach. She coached. Remember that? We have the commercial that she was on.
Let's run it again. Run it again.
She's the third.
The way she ran that practice was amazing.
You know what? Maybe it was another owner. Maybe it was the Benson who owned it. I don't know, but she wouldn't have been.
Could it be Hannah Storm? Because she was mentioned in the conversation.
Maybe so. Anyway, finally.
Does Hannah Storm belong in the NFL Hall of Fame?
No.
I love the way he answered that.
So anyway, Drew, I'm cleaning out stuff in my basement. I'm just cleaning out the basement. And I find a little gym bag, and it's got Gibby's stuff in it that he had put in the actual locker room, the lockers that we created as part of our set. So he had his Tiger uniform, and he had his Dodger uniform. He had what I gave him back, I left it in his office. He had a Royals uniform, played for the Royals.
Oh, yeah, he played for the Pirates.
And also, in the locker, he hung his baseball underwear that he wore when he hit the home run off of Gossage.
Well, really?
So since you got a locker room here with 5 jerseys, all
underwear.
kinds of shit, I'm going to give you this underwear.
He doesn't
See
want
the
this?
skid marks right
I don't
there.
know if it was that you can make this look like a real place that jocks like us hang out.
Oh boy. Let's analyze.
those underwears.
Yeah.
I think that underwear would have value.
Initial skid mark,
Well, I didn't
and
tell-
then a secondary one, and a continuous skid mark.
He is actually clean. I made sure he washed it before he put him on our
I just
set.
want to say, who did you say was in the Hall of Fame?
Andrea Kramer and Georgia Frontiere.
Her Andrea Kramer's headphones are in the Hall of Fame with the other one you mentioned.
Her
because-
headphones.
Yeah, the NFL.
She said she's in the Hall of Fame in that quote
As
when she
one of
got
only
all mad.
3 women in the at Pro Football Hall of Fame, I'm sickened by the insulting mockery.
Okay.
Okay.
Georgia
I
Frontiere.
can't seem to
Mark,
find
I
it.
can't find him either. I was Googling
It
while
seems
I was
like
talking.
the Pro Football Hall of Fame had a Women in the NFL exhibit that had a bunch of stuff.
And Hannah Storm had something in there. That's why I thought
so,
maybe it was
and
Hannah
so did
Storm.
Katie Sowers.
Katie Sowers.
So did Beth
what,
Moen.
what is Katie Sowers doing now? She was an assistant
Let's
coach.
run it again. Run it again. Let's go.
Would you like to
Running
know the other
practice.
items that are in the exhibit?
Yes, I
for the
would.
Pro Football Hall of
Yes.
Fame? Okay, hang on.
And I will update you on Katie Sowers' current position. Oh boy, it seems like she left the NFL in 2021 and hasn't come back.
What? I thought she was on her way to being the next first female head coach.
Wait, 2 years ago, she was appointed the director of athletic strategy initiatives at Ottawa University, where she coaches the
that's right.
women's flag football team.
Good for her.
That's a paying job.
Yeah, here she is live during practice.
Let's run it again. Run it again. Let's go.
So you have Jen Welter's blue and pink jersey.
Who's that?
She was the first woman to coach an NFL game in 2015 when she joined the Cardinals.
But she's not in the
Coached
Hall
an
of Fame.
NFL game. What woman coached an NFL? I don't
I
remember
don't know, but no, she was an assistant
she's
coach.
an assistant,
But
okay.
that jersey, because you're probably wondering what jersey's pink and blue. That was her game-worn Texas Revolution jersey.
I see.
Something I don't know what that is.
Let's run it again. Run it again.
But she's not in the Hall of Fame herself.
You
And
have Kelly Brownson's game-worn jacket and signed ball from a game when she became the first woman to serve as a position coach for an
Wonder what
NFL
that
regular
sign-
season game in
Let's run
2020.
it again. Run it again. Let's
She filled in as the tight ends coach because the tight ends coach had to stay home with his wife who was having a baby.
And what would that signed ball be worth, do you suppose? If they put it up for auction, how much would somebody
run
pay
it
for
again.
that?
Run it again. Let's go.
Then you have Katie Sowers' 49 polo shirt from the 2017 season, which became the second woman to serve as a full-time NFL coach.
Hey, they put a polo shirt in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. The shoes Buccaneers assistant defensive line coach Lori Locust wore when she and assistant strength and conditioning coach Marl Jadafor became the first female coaches to win a Super Bowl.
And you're supposed to look at stuff in the Hall of Fame and say, wow, that's so cool. He wore that jersey when he hit the home.
Instead, there's
And
some guy in there
somebody's
going,
shoes, an assistant coach's shoes. You're supposed to say, wow, look at those. Were those really her shoes? I got to get a pair of those.
That's patronizing.
We have Maya Shaka's referee uniform and penalty flags. She was the first black woman to officiate an NFL game in 2021.
But who are the people? Who are the women in the Hall of Fame?
Six-time national champion quarterback Allison Cahill's signed jersey from her MVP performance as the Boston Renegades' victory in the Women's Alliance Professional National Football Game Championship.
No one even could tell you who they played against.
And finally, you have
no
Hannah-
one who sees that display could ever tell you anything about that game.
Magoo. Did you see what Magoo wrote on the comments?
No, I did not.
What about her temp?
Oh, God. Magoo!
I don't know if she's using those anymore. Depending on who we're talking about.
I just felt a gush.
Then finally, Hannah Storm and Andrea Kramer's headset from 2018 when they became the first all-female broadcast team.
I wonder if that's
It's a
what
little bit pandering.
If Andrea Kramer meant that her headset's in the Hall of Fame and not her,
Maybe she is. I
I'm
can't
sure she
seem to
is.
find it.
I'm sure she is.
What was the all-female broadcast team?
Hannah Storm and Andrea Kramer. I don't remember.
There was no guys doing play-by-play or
No.
color or anything? Oh, okay. I bet it was a lot
I
better.
thought it was Gail Sirens did a Tampa Bay game many years ago. She was at Tampa
Gail
Bay.
Gardner?
No, not Gail. I replaced Gail Gardner at Channel 4. But Gail Sirens was. No, in fact, if Gail
Gardner was at Channel 4?
She was Gail Granick at the time. If she hadn't gone to ESPN when they opened in '79 and she went in '80, I might not have ever got the job at Channel 4. I might have been a nondescript radio sportscaster for the rest of my life.
Whoa.
Ooh. Anyway, so if we can't,
How good was Gail Gardner, by the way?
Ackerman hated her. She was okay.
That's not an answer.
She was fine. She was good.
I do recall
very
once when they lost audio for a game that was on, and they went back to SportsCenter or whatever, and just said, "Gail, just give play-by-play for the game," and she fumbled horribly,
Oh boy,
brutally.
Yeah.
A lot of
Famously.
pressure.
I don't think she lasted there that long.
Let's run it again. Run it again.
Yeah, she did kind of fade. I mean, she was
the first.
She was
though.
one of the first.
She was a pioneer.
For sure.
And the year before, I think in '78, Melissa Lutke was the first one from Sports Illustrated allowed in a locker room. And that was ugly when they allowed women in the locker rooms in Detroit. There were some notorious incidents, including the aforementioned Kirk Gibson.
Zeke Mowat with the Patriots.
Zeke Mowat,
Didn't he,
tight end. Yeah,
pull his dong out or something?
Jeez.
That wasn't a ding dong. That was a hog.
Oh, yeah. No, he was hung. Everybody knows that.
Anyway, it sounds like we're wrapping this up. So let me just say that Dr. Yaldo is Michigan's most experienced eye surgeon. No one's given more Michiganders the gift of 20/20 vision than he has, including me. That's why I agreed to be a spokesman. I wore glasses for 25 years. They were a necessary evil. But in 2000, I heard they'd invented this LASIK thing. I asked around. Dr. Yaldo's name came up. He had the reputation. What a revelation it was. I saw way better without the glasses than I had with them. And then a couple of years ago, like everybody else, I get cataracts, which are dulling and blurring of your corneas. But technology lately has created multifocal lens implants. Yaldo replaced my old damaged and worn out corneas with multifocals. Short, painless procedure. Had my 20/20 back. It's a daily miracle. I see everything tiny and big. It doesn't matter. There's a free, no obligation evaluation and an answer for you. No more glasses, contacts, or annoying reading glasses. See the man. You got nothing to lose. 800-308-EYES or go to YaldoEyeCenter.com.
Get out of here.
I just went through this whole list of inductees. I went through it pretty quick. I don't see any females.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
Yeah, so why would
She's
she
talking
say
about her
that?
headset.
Because her headset's in.
Well, then why would she just say 3? Because you mentioned 7 or 8
I want to
names.
follow her headset on Twitter, not
It just
her.
isn't as dramatic to say, as a woman who has her headset in the NFL's Hall of Fame, I'm bald.
I mean, I could be wrong. I just don't see it on this list anywhere.
Yeah, you know, it shouldn't be looked at as a bullshit role if they took that coaches thing out of it and made them do real stories. Talk to the players before the game, roll in an interview, give some insight, give an opinion.
Didn't they hire some women who aren't hot too? Wouldn't that give it more credibility?
Yes, you'd think. I mean, but as it turns out, and the reason it's so off is that women, it's very hard for them to overcome the stigma that what are women even doing in sports. I think after all these years, we still don't accept it. We assume as a man they can't know as much, they can't have the insight.
Then stop pandering to them and giving them those stupid jobs.
I think some of them have gained credibility. It's hard. It's definitely harder. I understand that, but I think sometimes it's the way. It's, you know, just having women only do sideline and always be hot and always be in those group shows. Like yesterday, I was going around the pregame shows. There's always the female who's just sort of the host and the facilitator. They're never the analyst.
Well,
it's always the other guys.
And maybe one
remember
reason
when they put Jillian Barbieri on that show just to do weather?
Do weather, yeah. It's insulting.
One reason Thompson might have done that without thinking was very unthoughtful for her, for her to do that is because she graduated from the role.
Sure.
People want to be a studio host, or if you're a TV reporter, you want to be an anchor man. So she made it past that role, and maybe looking back, it was easier to kind of denigrate it. But you know, if you do the work. If you do it, unfortunately, this regurgitating what the coach said takes no skill. All you do is ask a question and then say what he said. That's not giving an insight. That's not putting facts together. That's not doing research. It's just regurgitating bullshit from a coach who's not going to tell you anything anyway. So that's what hurts the role in the first place. We all look at it and say not anybody can do that, but what's the point? Where's the journalism? Yeah. Where's the work?
Can I throw one more sports thing out there? I saw the Tigers parted ways with Austin Meadows.
Yeah.
So do they not care about his mental health anymore because they're not paying him?
Yeah, they do care about his mental health because his brother's on the team.
That's not fair.
Because it seemed kind of weird that he's not performing, so they cut him.
Well,
like there's no protection for that. In other words, in baseball,
they paid him for 2 years.
In baseball, can you do that if someone's injured? Can you cut somebody?
Absolutely.
Like, because in football you can't.
He's a free agent. He's got 32 teams. He's got 30 teams to talk to. So, you know, they paid him $8.6 million for 2 years. They got about 30 games at him. Yes, it's sad. It's unfortunate.
It's horrible.
But who knows whether he'll ever be able to deal with his anxiety enough to play the game again. So they were
that's why they
righteous.
That's why they got
never
rid
ripped
of him.
They never said,
they gave him more than,
yeah.
My
Yeah,
God,
I know, but that's why they got rid of him.
$$80 for doing basically nothing.
The guy's 28. If he goes and signs with a team and just starts hitting 35 homers again, I'm going to be pissed. Come on.
I agree.
Now, what about What happened with
I'll be
Spencer
livid.
Turnbull? Because I saw
Spencer
that
Turnbull's gone too.
I saw that there was some kind of
He's gone too.
There's some
But
bad
hasn't
blood
done
between them.
Spencer Turnbull has not produced for them in years.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, he's just been hanging around, being
Multiple
injured.
injuries. Now, sometimes guys come back, but it could be another 3 or 4 years before he comes back. Either of them. So no, I don't fault them at all for that.
But he had a no-hitter.
Yeah.
In one game, great.
So did Andres Galarraga had a perfect game. What happened to him?
November is the month to give thanks. The team at Shana Roofing would like to say thank you to the amazing listeners of this fine program. Shana Roofing has been in business for 28 years and had a record-setting October, all while keeping their 4.9 Google rating. So congratulations to Shana Roofing for that. Additionally, Shana Roofing would like to say thank you to Drew, Mark, Brandon, Trudy, Eli, Jim, Carl, and last but not least, Maz, for keeping us entertained all these years. Well, what a nice bit of copy this is from Shana Roofing. If you're still interested in replacing your roof this year, you're almost out of time. Call them ASAP at 248-678-8141 or visit ShanaRoofing.com. That's SCHOENHERR roofing.com. And Polyview Dental. They're not as thankful for the show. I'm sure they are, but they don't have it in their copy. But they do want you to know about the incredible one-day event special they had where they were offering $33.99 for the Invisalign system. See, Lila's so geeked about this Invisalign special.
She's coming over.
Not want Eli to leave.
I'm just tracking Eli with the camera on here.
Lila!
Bad dog.
Invisalign's $33.99 special price for Invisalign for straight teeth. This is like braces for adults, but nobody knows you're wearing them. You can take them out for meals, though. You know what Invisalign is. $33.99. It's normally $5,100. They had a special for $36.99. $33.99. They're still offering this through December the 7th due to overwhelming response. People really took advantage of this, and they want to continue the volume deal at $33.99. And by the way, if you wondered, God, wouldn't it be nice if I could smile with a beautiful, straight teeth smile? Just like I had braces when I was a kid. You can see what that would look like on their Itero digital scanner. You can see what your Invisalign results will look like in just minutes. I know it's a great tease, but it might be something very inspiring for someone who's... A lot of people are afraid to smile. They don't like their teeth. They don't like the way they look, or they don't like that they're not straight. So here's a chance for you to do the Invisalign system and have straight teeth, a beautiful smile. They've done so much Invisalign business. They're a platinum Invisalign provider 3 years running and have more than 600 five-star reviews. Plus, they offer financing with no credit check. You can get the Invisalign clear aligner system for $197 a month. Call Polyview Dental. If you're looking for a dentist, too, they're happy to do that. Great family dentistry. Call Polyview Family Dental. Set up your free consult at 313-388-2400. That's 313-388-2400. And, breaking news in the advertising world. Did you know Christina Gennari is now on Jason Carr Drive?
What?
Yes.
Yes.
She's selling houses on Jason Carr Drive?
Yes.
Great.
Jason Carr Drive. We should merge our sales teams.
No kidding.
Paul's over there. Christina's over there.
Sounds like someone is.
Jason Carr Drive just stealing all our advertisers.
taking all of our
They're
ads.
going after all our people. It's a pretty good move. So yeah, congratulations to Christina. Is she hosted, by the way? Because a lot of the advertisers host.
Oh, she
with
will.
Jason.
You know she will.
She'd be good, actually.
I'm going to watch that episode.
Is this going to put pressure on us to have advertisers in?
I don't know. It's a little concerning, I have to admit. But anyway, Christina and her team at KW Domain are doing amazing business. She just closed 2 houses for listeners, by the way, from this show.
Really?
I think.
How many did you do for Jason Carr Drive yet?
Well,
Right.
we'll soon find out.
Not like a little competition.
As inventory bruised as real estate has been, Christina has amazingly continued to get her share and sell loads of houses and list tons of houses because she's got a great team behind her, great marketers, great at selling or listing, whatever it is you need. Call Christina or go to soldchristina.com. That's sold, Christina, soldchristina.com. For Christina Gennari, you can call or text her at 248-550-4788.
Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye.
No.